Welcome to another episode of Comedy Wham Presents with me, your host, Valerie, and sometime co-host, Miss Purrington. ComedyWham.com is your place to go for features about all Austin comedy. You can keep up with us on Twitter and Instagram at Comedy Wham or on our Comedy Wham Facebook page. Please rate and review us on iTunes if you're listening to this podcast. In addition to podcasts, Comedy Wham brings you articles, album reviews, and live shows featuring the best in Austin comedy in all its shapes and formats. Launched in 2016, the Podcast Project brings you funny people and their stories. As a fan, I like to delve into a comic's background and motivations, and will usually take a detour along the way. Consider the interview a way for you to get to know the folks that make the Austin comedy scene one of the best in the country. Today, I am speaking with somebody who recently moved from San Antonio to Austin. Welcome.
Yes. Yeah, thank you.
He is the co-host of the Willful Ignorance podcast, which has brought some notable guests, including past Comedy Wham guest Raul Sanchez, and recently the great Bobby Lee, who swung through San Antonio a few weeks ago, which was an amazing episode, by the way. And you know things are going well for him. He's recently headlined The Valve.
Yeah.
And I don't know very much about this comic, so I'm super excited to get to know his background. So now, Comedy Wham presents our guest, George Anthony.
Hello, Comedy Wham fans, audience, listeners.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I usually start these off with an icebreaker question, and so let me throw that one at you. One word to describe your past.
My past. Fickle.
Fickle?
I mean, I don't know the definition of that word, but it sounds right. No. I would say stubborn.
Stubborn.
Stubborn's a good word.
Okay.
Stubborn.
All right. I'm intrigued by the idea that fickle just floated into your head.
Yeah.
You didn't know what it means, but you wanted to throw that out.
Complicated.
And then you switched words, so maybe that is fickle.
Yeah. Yes. That's the definition of it, right? Yeah. It sure is.
So you did I get that right? That you recently moved? That it's
I sure did.
Recent?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a little over a year that I moved to. I've been coming here for years though. San Antonio is so close.
Right.
With my friends and but yeah, here a little over a year.
Mm-hmm. So. And are you originally from San Antonio?
I would say yeah.
You would say.
I would say yeah.
Where did you grow up?
My father was in the military.
Okay.
So we traveled a lot. San Antonio was always home, but I mean, my childhood was spent in Europe.
Really?
So, yeah. So, definitely a culture shock. For the last, I came here in, I would say, 5th grade. Definitely a culture shock, with this American, Mexican, or whatever you want to call it, Texas.
Now, where in Europe were you born? Were you born?
I was born on base here
Okay.
at Fort Sam, here in San Antonio. Uh-huh. Well, in Texas, yeah. And then we a few years went by, and then we jumped to Germany, to Nuremberg, around that area.
Okay.
In the early 80s, and then yeah.
So you started forming memories, and then you're uprooted.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember before Germany. Those were my first memories. I think I was about 3, maybe 3 or 4. Yeah. And we stayed there for about, say 4 years, maybe 3 years, somewhere around there. First grade came, somewhere like that. And then we hopped back to the States for maybe about a year or so, and then we went back for another 4 or 5 years. So yeah.
Oh, so then you got immersed in German culture and life.
Yeah. We had German class. We traveled all around. I mean, Europe is so close. Like you can go from where we were in Heidelberg the second time to Paris. It's like 4 hours. So that's what we would do. We would just travel, during the summer and stuff like that. So
it's cool that your parents were letting you take advantage of the proximity and expose you to other parts of
definitely,
that,
yeah, definitely
the history and Okay, so I'm going to do my atrocious attempt. Sprechen Sie Dutch?
Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Yeah. Just a little bit, though. I remember all the curse words, all the terrible stuff you're not supposed to do.
Yeah.
But, my mother is fluent. She speaks fluent German, so, yeah.
Very cool. So do you have any early comedic memories from this global life of adventure?
Global, right? My father was an enlisted man. He wasn't an officer, right? No. He, not really. I mean, just kind of moving around a lot and uprooting and moving here, moving there. I went to like 13 different elementary schools,
Wow.
So, I was always a new kid. Had to kind of get along in the best way I thought to cope. Also to cope too, was humor, was comedy. I mean, not necessarily stand up, of course, but just doing something funny or saying something funny, to kind of get people to like me,
Yeah. Okay, so there's a fine point that I want to dig into. So that becomes a coping mechanism for you, but is your family funny?
They're funny. They're funny to me.
Yeah.
They were my mother and father had me at a very early age. So they had to cope with a lot of stuff too, a lot of change, a lot of, my mother had 3 kids before she was 19.
Whoa.
So yeah, my father, was very, very young as well. So, I'd say they're hilarious.
Yeah.
They're very, mean. I think being mean is funny sometimes.
Yeah.
You can this to say the thing that no one's supposed to say.
Yeah. There's no more effective roaster than somebody who has known you your entire life.
Yeah.
Or for formative part of your life.
Yeah, they get dirty. My father, he's more of a he's definitely like a military man, but he's more of the jokester and kind of goofy, silly stuff. My mom's more of the she's like clever and sarcasm and stuff like that. But yeah, I'd say they're good people. They're not right, but they're good people.
Well, as a parent, that's the best we can hope for. Our kid tells us, they're a good person. They're not right.
They're not right. Yeah.
As long as we can be right, close to 50% of the time, that's pretty good odds, I think.
I don't know. I'm enjoying being wrong, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. This, I think so many people are just scared to be wrong nowadays. They're scared to look ignorant or to be ignorant, and I don't think ignorance is necessarily like a bad term. Especially if you don't know.
Yeah.
Like how are you a bad person if you just don't know? And then once you get educated, then if you continue, whatever ignorant behavior, then you're just being willfully ignorant. Ha ha.
Oh,
right?
Hey, nice plug.
Nice plug for the podcast. But yeah. I don't know.
So, at what point in your journey did you decide or think about stand up? Were you watching stand up at all?
Oh, I've been watching stand up since I can remember.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, name it, I've probably seen it. Even the ones now people don't really know that aren't famous yet. I've seen most of their specials, Comedy Central, Netflix.
Yeah.
Bill Cosby, George Carlin, old HBO stuff. Eddie Murphy. Just all the greats back in the 90s. Chris Rock, geez.
Sure.
Yeah. But what made me want to do stand up? Was that a question?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was kind of just something I just decided I wanted to do one day, and then I just looked up the open mic and I just started doing it.
And where were you when you made that decision?
I was in San Antonio.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just gone through a divorce for my own doing. I'm not the bad guy though. Right? There's always two sides. Not right. But some would say I was a bad guy. Anyway, so I don't know, I was just kind of in this weird, like, maybe crisis, where I felt like the world just coming in on me a little bit, and I needed to just breathe, and I needed to maybe just, like, get out of my own... It's like a void, Some people find religion, some people find other things, softball teams, whatever. I realized it was comedy that was like, because I'd been watching it so long, and I don't know, I just needed to feel better, I guess, at the time.
No.
And
San Antonio, I'm learning more and more about the scene. I lived in San Antonio for 5 years.
Oh, so sorry about that.
Yeah, I know. I actually like it, and I have good friends that live there.
I love that place. Back. Yeah.
There's that I know of. There are two big clubs. There were two big clubs then, and I think the River Center, is that still a thing? Is that club still?
River Center shut down last year sometime. Yeah. Rest in peace.
But as far as like Austin is so rich in the smaller theaters.
Oh, definitely.
Options. I thought, the only option in San Antonio was the big clubs, which means it's hard for somebody who's starting out to find open mics unless it's at the big club, and
Well, the big club is definitely where you want to go. But I would suggest only maybe hitting up there's other places from a year ago. I know there was this place called the Bear Stage. The Blind Tiger is like probably the best comedy place in San Antonio. It is the best comedy place.
I've heard great things about that place.
Like, Blind Tiger is amazing. And then there's other open mics, I guess, around town, and there's avenues to get before you go to the big club, because I think the big club is where you want to really treat it as an audition, But yeah, there's plenty of spots though.
So where was your first open mic? Was it the big club?
The big club.
And did you have any idea that it was an audition when you?
No, of course not. No,
because you were just like, I got to get a release.
I had nothing to lose. Yeah, and what the funny thing is, I saw one of my friends. I started going to see live shows. That was part of the transition or whatever. And I saw one of my friends now. I saw him on stage opening for this very well known comic, and he was bombing. And the friends I were with, like, yo, you could do that. I'm like, I am going to do that, And the next Tuesday, that was the open mic. I signed up, and that was it. I just started doing it. That was March of 2011. So,
okay.
Yeah, not that long ago, but just consistent,
So how often is it possible for somebody in San Antonio to go up?
Again, I don't know how it is now. It's been like stuff changes within a few weeks. So, but if you're, I would say every night. I think you can go up every night in San Antonio. Yeah.
Okay.
Except maybe even Fridays. Fridays is at the Tiger. Yeah. And then if you can get there's other places called Jokesters that popped up a couple of years ago. It's downtown. It kind of popped up when River Center closed, or maybe just a little bit before. But it's another spot that you can go to. I think they have a Thursday mic there, and then they do shows Friday, Saturday. So, I mean, if you're in it, if you're hanging or whatever, I mean, you're gonna get on. Yeah. So,
how did you take us back to that first mic? How did you feel going up on stage and then walking off on stage? How do you feel
going up on stage? I've never had a change in how I go up. It's like this. It's like this deadening. I don't know what it is. It's like a. I was talking to one of my buddies about it. It's like a Zen-like depression, where it's like, all right, nothing matters. Just go up and try your best. And so I'm very calm.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about anything. I don't like people talking to me sometimes, but other than that, I don't care about anything. And then once I go up, it's this fear of especially after the first laugh, you're like, oh crap, I got to keep this going. I got to keep this going. Like, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? And so the first time I was like, this is easy, And then when I got off, the adrenaline's pumping, like, oh no, I was trying to catch my breath, and it happens every time I got to walk. I got to immediately leave. Because the adrenaline is just so pumped. I don't want to, I'm in my primitive brain where it's just breathe, go outside and get some air, So the first time it was very much like that, where actually I was getting bumped a lot too. I was getting kind of upset. Yeah, these people in San Antonio, because you're allowed to bump if you're passed at the club.
It's the newbie inauguration.
Yeah, pretty much. So, I went up to one of my friends now, and I told him, hey, man, I signed up pretty early, getting kind of, people keep coming up that didn't sign up. He's like, how long you been doing comedy? I was like, this is my first time. He's like, yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, okay. There's a lot I don't know about this. But yeah, I would say it's like that, where it's definitely like a rush after. A rush during and then after, but up until that point, I'm just like numb. I don't think about anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get a good response?
No, of course not. No. It was pretty terrible. I wasn't prepared.
Okay, I was going to ask how prepared.
Not at all. I thought it was just like I can go up and I'm hilarious. I can just go up and be funny. It'll be great, Today
I went through the drive-through and
yeah,
happened to
it's
me.
just aimless. Just no point. Just go home, Just get out of here. I recorded one of my first sets, maybe a few months in, and it was the same, and like nothing. I felt like nothing had changed. And I got one pop. My first joke that ever hit, and it's deplorable. It's awful. It's sex, and it's just gross. Yeah. And but yeah, they're hard to watch. Yeah. They're really hard to watch.
Because all these icons you've been watching make it look so natural, and you think, oh, I just go up and rattle off stuff.
Yeah, once you pull the curtain back, you're like, oh man, these guys are geniuses. And I'm like, I should just stop. I should just quit. Wow, they make it look so effortless, But right. Then you like, oh no, they've been doing it for 20 plus years, of course, Yeah. But yeah, like, and that's one thing too. I never had any respect for anybody. I always. That might sound.
Sure you want that on
No, I do. I never have respect for anybody. Like. I walked into the mic,
George.
and all these people are sitting there with the ego of like, I've been doing it like a few years, bro. I'm like, yeah, but you're my head. I'm like, you're here at the open mic with me. I don't know who you are. You're you're in the same boat, In 20 years, if we're both doing it, then we're both doing it. But right now, you got 5 years on me. You suck too. Who cares,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I felt, and maybe that attitude, helped me. I guess I don't know.
Because you eventually figured it out how the game works and how much you have to put into it to. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, and the whole part of the game, is to just work on your set. That's the whole thing. People try to, do favors for people. People try to do this, do that. But if they just work on their set and become undeniable, eventually all that stuff is going to happen to you,
Right,
or whatever is going to happen is going to happen.
Right. Right.
So
one of the things that I mentioned to you before we started recording, because I thought I had not seen you live before, but when I watched the two, excuse me, you have two FPIA sets that are posted on your website. One was your prelims from this year, one was your semis.
Yeah.
One of the things that really, really impressed me is the family fight, which you did in the semis. Is 6 minutes on one story, which I find very impressive because you don't typically see that. Certainly at the FPIAs, people are doing, they're not necessarily doing one hit after the other, different setup punch. But it is rare for me to see somebody dedicate 6 minutes to an entire story, and you do it so well that it doesn't feel like, oh, is this story ever going to end? Because there's so many elements to it.
Yeah.
And the reason that I'm bringing this up is then when I look at your prelims, which is also more of a storytelling style, when did you figure out that was what would work for you?
I would say maybe 4 years ago.
Okay.
3-4 years ago.
3 years into your...
About 4 years into stand-up, we had this storytelling show, and I didn't work on anything. I just told a story for my family, and it really had really great response. And people, my peers, my friends, they were like, "Yo, man, how come you don't have any more of these stories, dude?" I was like, "Oh, I got a whole bunch of them, man." And trying to work it into a stand-up. 6 minutes and whatnot, you really got to punch it up, because I could tell that same story and it could be 30 minutes long because I'm giving you every juicy detail of what happened and I'm kind of going off on tangents from the story, but it all ties back together, about 4 years ago, I have a bunch of stories. Some of them I can't say because when I get booked, that type of thing, because they're really true stories and personal, and stuff like that. But yeah, and then I just started developing these stories that I have into shorter and shorter sets. You know, they went from 30 minutes to 20 minutes, and then 20 minutes down to 15, and then 15 down to 12. And then if I bring it down, I had to work on that story for a good 2 months to bring it down to 6 minutes.
Yeah. And
to really just trim all the fat and just keep only the laughs, the punches, you know, without really, because I could say that story and it'll melt your heart, you know, or I can just keep you laughing the whole time, right. You know. So I started this storytelling show with my buddy Joey McCormick, who has another interesting life that's like amazing, you know, and he has all these crazy stories. And we ran our show in San Antonio at the Blind Tiger for about 3 years, and that was just, you know, he would either host it and I would close it, or I would host it and he would close it, and we would both do 20 minutes in between the people that we booked on it. We booked a bunch of people from Austin, some people from San Antonio. And for those 3 years, I just really just worked on those stories, like, and it was once a month. Okay. So 12 times you can tell a story, you can really get it down good, you know. And that's just working on one story. So going backwards in time, what were you doing those first 3 years before you figured out this is hanging out? I gotta be honest with you. I was trying to learn how to navigate through a scene. You know, I was getting booked to the club a year and a half in. I was getting a week. You know, which that's not terribly long. Some people don't get, you know, into the clubs, you know, for years, and some people get in right away. So. I was working on stand up, just straight up, set up punch. You really try to go with the fundamentals before you figure out, okay, where are my weaknesses? Where are my strengths? And let me just double down on my strengths. And if whatever happens from that happens, you know, cause I don't know what it is. It's very difficult for me to do, like a setup punch, like just a pure joke. Yeah. It's and I got friends that can do it, and it's good for them. Who cares, you know? But but for me, it's, I don't know. I have to like push down my pride and my ego so much that you know, especially for setup punch. Like, no, I want to talk to you. I want to, you know, I want to almost have like it's not a total one-way conversation, but 99% of it is. You know, sometimes I'll talk to the crowd or whatever, because I really want an opinion, like, because that helps me. For some, it's I'm going off too. No, it's fine. But it's I write on stage, and it's a curse and a blessing sometimes, but it's more of a curse. Like I can't write in a notebook. I just feel like it'd be a lot of trash, like killing trees and stuff, you know.
So you don't really prep in the traditional sense?
No. I'm obsessive and I harp, but to write something down for me is just a waste of time. Like if it comes from you, it comes from you. Like I don't know.
Do you ever listen to Kill Tony?
No.
Okay. Do you know the concept of that show?
I know the concept.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is one of the biggest things that Tony Hinchcliffe harps on is he gets really mad if there's an interview portion after somebody does their little 60-second set. He really harps on that, you know, comedy is no good if it's not you.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just come up and make up stuff. There's got to be an element of this is your story, this is your life, because that's what people warm up to. So, you know, everything you've been saying is consistent with that. You know, something that, you know, another big name comic totally ascribes to, and he holds people to that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm on the right track here, huh?
Yes, you are.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. Stay true to yourself.
Yeah. Like I got friends that are just like serial killers. You know, they'll go up there. You don't know anything about them, and they just tell you joke. You're laughing your ass off, but it's just joke. I mean, this one of my friends, she'll do like 120 jokes in like 30 minutes, and it's like, what are you talking about, dude? Oh my, that's like, you're a beast. It's crazy, you know.
It's such a different.
But
skill.
when she walks off, for me, I mean, people know her, people remember her and stuff like that. But for me, I'm like, yeah, but I don't know, like, what else, you know? Okay,
yeah.
You're hilarious, but I don't know who you are. But and maybe you don't have to. Maybe that's just me, like my personal comedy preference, or whatever. But I can appreciate a good joke writer. I can appreciate stand up. I can appreciate sketch, you know, improv, whatever. But I guess just for my own style, like I have to tell you something, and it might irk you. It might like resonate. It might whatever.
Yeah. Why would it irk somebody? Is there? Do you dabble in stuff? Like, obviously what I saw was very sanitized for FDIA purposes.
Definitely. Yeah.
So I got a little taste of it from listening to Willful Ignorance.
I bet, yeah.
But do you dabble in stuff that you know
a little bit of controversial types. I've been called edgy, you know, by a comedy club owner and booker. And I was too edgy for his club, and I was like, oh, okay. Huh. Everybody was laughing pretty good. And the joke he said was like, yeah, it's just not for here. And I was like, well, the people who I meant it for were falling out of their chair. I could see them in the crowd and they were dying, but it's, you know, I definitely like pushing the boundary, you know, again, just like everybody you watch on TV is pushing the boundary, you know, but I know it's a process to get there. Like before you're able to do what you want, per se, you got to go through, you know, maybe you got to go through certain steps. Maybe I don't know about this thing. You know, there's no clear path.
There's no manual.
There's no manual for this thing. Yeah, I'm like a kamikaze pilot. I'm just waiting to see which ship I can blow up. You know, maybe this will work. Yeah.
So are you the personality type that when you hear something like that somebody says, oh, you're edgy, that you, how do you respond?
I just roll my eyes. No. Especially you always have to know your audience. Yeah. So you know, and you can learn from every experience. So I'm like, okay, I appreciate that, you know, and just gotta kind of either better communicate what you're trying to say or don't listen to it, you know? So I'm more of the like, all right, how can I better communicate this so it doesn't sound so raw for these ears, you know? Because again, like you get in the Blind Tiger in the basement of a children's restaurant, your freedom is almost limitless. You can say whatever, as long as it's funny. You can say whatever you want, type thing, and it's good to flex that muscle sometimes too.
So you're willing to change the natural course of the words that you would use to suit a purpose.
I'm willing to change to me sounds like compromise. I don't want to say compromise, but again, there's always something you could do better, you know? Like if change is better, then that's good. Like if you can, with this iPhone, you know, like it was amazing when it came out. Like what they called it a smartphone. Like it was, but now we have like a version 11 of it. Like how could it get any better? And it has little changes, you know, here and there. So that's how I think a joke can be, you know. Even though his criticism, I don't buy it, but I'm like, all right, well maybe there's a few people out there that might have the same thoughts. Maybe I can communicate this better. And then the joke's ever evolving anyway. You know, it's never some people will just write a joke down like, all right, that's the perfect way to say this. I'm like, I don't really believe that. Sometimes they have a time limit. Sometimes they don't. But you can say it a little bit better. Just as long as the essence is there for me, I guess.
I mean, I think that takes a level of wisdom to appreciate that you could still be yourself, but maybe you can learn something from the feedback, the critique, the edgy label when you weren't, you saw the audience response and take that somewhere. You know, I was, as you were telling that story, I'm thinking, well, would a George Anthony at 1.5 years or 3 years in, would he have responded that same way? But, you know, depending on when that comment was made, you know, you were in a place where you could say, I could be a total dick and say, fuck you, I'm never going to,
Yeah.
I'm not changing. Or you say, well, there might be a reason down the road where I might need to say it a little bit differently to target an audience.
I'm going to humble brag right now.
Okay, go for it.
I've never had an ego.
No.
No, but that's what it is, really. When you tell somebody, yeah, fuck you, dude. That's just your ego talking, like, come on. Like, of course you can be better.
Yeah.
Of course you can be better. Am I going to change the subject matter or what I'm trying to say? Maybe not. But if I can better communicate it to where, it's more palatable, maybe more maybe not. I don't know. It's like walking a tightrope. It's just you don't want to fall off the tightrope. You want people to get, scared for you and then clap at the end when you make it. But if you fall off a tightrope, for him, I fell off a tightrope. He was just like, dude, I saw you fall. I mean, I didn't appreciate your death. I was hoping you'd make it, but for this joke, you didn't make it for me. Like, oh, okay. Maybe I'll use a stick next time, or something. Maybe I'll communicate this better. Yeah.
So I'm going to do some quick math here. The number of episodes that you have for Willful Ignorance tells me that you started that podcast a year to 2 years ago.
Yes, yeah.
While you were in San Antonio.
I was in San Antonio, yeah.
And given that you had set that up, and I have no sense for if you were running shows in San Antonio, what made you think, I got to make this move to better my career?
Well, I get on pretty good, right? But on stage. But after the River Center closed down, it's the other club. I wasn't getting booked, and which is really the best thing, that can happen to anybody. It's like, your hometown, your home club starts messing with you. So you either sulk and maybe produce your own shows and be with that guy or that person, or you move on, and I have so many friends that have come to Austin and have good success, and their comedy's right up my alley too, my buddy, Jay, Avery, Raul, a bunch of other people too. And, so Austin was the next move, or New York or LA or something. It's hard to think about struggling in like Denver, when you just go to LA or go to New York. What are you doing? Yeah. But Austin definitely has a window here into the industry. So this was the most logical step, as far as comedy. And then once you move away, now they're like, hey, come back and work this joint. Like, oh, okay, awesome. Yeah, that's even great. Worlds. Yeah, even better. So other
than the road time.
Yeah, it's really not that bad. It's really not. I mean, I'll drive to Oklahoma for $25. I don't care.
Really?
I mean, if it's gonna help me get into somewhere or do something.
Don't put that out there.
No,
you're worth more than that.
I know that, but I'm making a.
Oh, you're making
maybe an inside thing, maybe. I mean, I'll drive to I'll drive to Florida for some drink tickets. I don't care. That's what I'm learning about too. Like you said, you're worth more than that. I'm learning about self-worth and this comedian self-esteem. It doesn't come at first. Maybe some people it does. Some people are about the brand more than the set. And I've always been about the set more than the brand. And it's getting to that point where I got to start caring about the brand. But up until now, I've just been caring about the set. I got to work on my set, work on my set, work on my set, work on your set, work on your set, But knowing your worth, now it's like, oh, George, we like you. We want you to come do time. If it's something I want to do, I'll pay you to do it. If I want to do it, I will. But if I don't want to do it, this might be giving away too much too. I'm like, oh, yeah, George, 10 minutes. It's at this funeral home. I'm like, oh, dude. All right, it's going to be $1,000 a minute. And I need a deposit 2 weeks before of half the money because I make it really difficult. I'm just like, oh, okay. And sometimes people say, oh, okay, well, like maybe next time. I'm like, oh, yeah, because I hate saying no to anything. So I'll make people say no, But when they say yes, I'm just like, oh man, okay, I guess I'm doing this funeral then. Jeez, you know. But
it's all been done before.
I know.
One of my favorite interviews. You may be the next, the second only funeral show reference. Maybe you've never done a show at a funeral, but I've
done a wake. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's not cool.
I had somebody who, she was booked on a memorial.
Oh my gosh.
And she had to speak after, I don't know if it was the minister or the preacher. She had to perform after.
Oh, that's so brutal. That is so brutal. Because he's not trying to be funny at all, you know? Oh, that's so awful. We did this show one time. It was me, Raul, right? And my buddy Edward. And we were doing this private gig in Laredo for the county commissioner. The guy was running for county commissioner. So he had this big banquet, this big fundraiser. And it was like so many $100 per plate. And, you know, he's like, all right, we want to book comedians too. And Raul's like, hell yeah. You know, for this much. And I'll take two of my idiot friends. So, so we go there and me and Edward, you know, did the rock, paper, scissors to see who could go first. And I wanted to go first anyway, but he lost. So he ended up going first. And before he goes up, this lady hopped on the stage and she was like, I just want to, you know, all of us to pray right now. And so she did a prayer. It was like maybe 400 people there and everybody's heads bowed and it was very solemn and, you know, and my diabetes, you know, and she threw in a couple of prayers for herself too and a couple of prayers for her son who had like Bell's palsy or something like that. And, all right, now we're going to start the comedy now. And Edward's just sweating, you know, he's like, oh my, what is this about, you know? And he goes up and, she goes, and give it up for, his name's Edward Hernandez. Give it up for, what did she say? Lorenzo something or other.
She couldn't even get his name.
She got his name. Yeah, this lady was in her prayer still.
Yeah.
And by the end of her prayer, she was crying tears. And through her tears, she brought up my friend Edward. And he goes on stage. His first thing is to either, for some reason, he's like weird like this. He either shits on the crowd or he shits on the person before him.
Oh, God. So
he was like, all right, get up for her diabetes. Somebody help her off stage. I don't think she can see. Or something like that. And it was just like, oh, that's how the show's going to start, dude. Yeah, that was pretty terrible. Oof. Yeah. I've done a wake, though, where me and my friend Larry Garza, we went to the Valley at Cine El Rey. And I love that place. It's awesome. And we go there, and he's supposed to headline that week, right? And it's a beautiful theater, and it's right downtown McAllen. We show up, and it says one of our friends that just died 2 days before. His name was Ray Lopez, and it says Ray Lopez forever on the marquee. And he was like, hey, where's my name? You know? So we call the booker. He's like, hey, dude, what's going on? He's like, oh, yeah, we're going to have a tribute show after your show, bro, for the comic that just passed away. He was like, oh, dude, should we even do the show? And he's like, yeah, no, it'll be fine. So people don't know what time it is, and they fill the theater and
they think they're
it's sold out or whatever, and it's packed, and they think it's just one long 8-hour tribute show or 4-hour tribute show. It's not, though. Our show started at 9 something. Their things will start at 10:30 after hours, but they piled in anyway, and it's just a crowd full of tears, and ooh, you know, and so Larry, his Uncle Jesus was there. Uncle Jesus who farted, right? It's a character that Larry does.
Okay.
And it's a play on awful comics, pretty much. So his Jesus who farted Mendoza, right, is supposed to go up, and so Larry's in character. He's like, hey, mijo, whatever, and I'm like, dude, are you sure you're gonna go up to? And people are crying. You can hear moaning in the crowd, and the opener's up, and I'm supposed to go up next. And I look at him. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not gonna go up. I'm gonna wait in the car. He's like, he takes off his glasses. Dude, please, I just need you right now. He broke character. He's like, I just need you right now. Please don't. Come on, dude. I've never broken character before. Oh my God, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm not going up then. I'm not gonna go up this character. He's gonna be rude, you know. Yeah. So I go up, I bomb, whatever. I come off, and then Jesus goes up. The first thing out of Jesus' mouth was like, hey, why is everybody so sad? Did someone die? And you heard the crowd go silent, and a couple of like, what the, you know, sprinkled in there. And he's like, no, I'm just playing. Hey, that kid died, right? And people start kind of getting on board with his like awful, he doesn't know about this place at all type of character. And he ended up having to follow himself because Larry goes up as his uncle, then he goes up as himself. And the transformation isn't that drastic, but people don't know, you know. People didn't know that was him and then him again. You know, he's a real shit, man. He'll take the feature and the headliner money. Anyway, and so that ended, thank God, and we're both drenched in sweat. And then we did the tribute show afterwards. And even though it was very tough, and you know, people were kind of exploiting it a little bit too. This one guy, he was a radio guy, and he went up and like, and Ray, you know, he always kept it locked to 95.2, the hot spot. He's doing an awful plug, you know. One of our other friends, he was like, you know, and everywhere, all the tours I do, every stadium I sell out, every arena I'm at, I'm going to give every standing O I get.
Oh, geez.
Every big applause break I get for my comedy because I'm the best. It's going to be for Ray Lopez, everybody. And people were like, oh, the comics were like, what? Why is he? Forget this dude, you know? But at the end of it, Ray's mom went up and she ended up doing his material and I think some of her own material. And it was beautiful. And the whole time I was hating it, I was like, oh my God, dude, I can't believe I can't do that. And then she went up and like her son passed away. And she's brave enough to face everybody and, you know, do his material, which he was a very funny guy. And then she did some of her own jokes about him growing up. And it was just like, I'm lucky to be here right now.
What a wave of like emotion.
It was a roller coaster, yeah. And then me and Larry had 4 hours driving back. And Larry was like, do you think I feel bad because I was selling my CD? But I don't know. Like, dude. Everybody that donated to family, Larry would give him his CD, and he's like, "Dude, do you think that was bad?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was, dude. It was gross. You're a gross person. Why would you do that? That's just so gross. You're promoting yourself at this guy's wake. Maybe your first show, yeah, but the wake show, the tribute show, you're a jerk, dude. And it wasn't even like a press thing. It was like some bootleg thing he recorded, like just to sell for like $5. It was awful. It was terrible."
But you don't learn these things unless you make these dumb mistakes.
Yeah, that's true. And they're funny and like, you know, and at the time they're just like, oh my God, I can't believe you sold your CD at a funeral, bro. What's wrong with you? Jesus Christ.
So you've been in Austin for a year. What's your favorite thing about the Austin comedy scene versus San Antonio?
San Antonio's definitely, like, there's some good people down there, but it's definitely a lot of, like, it's a rough place, you know. You really have to make these people fold their arms immediately, like, dance for me, you know. Yeah. And Austin, they're a lot more nurturing. They're, as far as just the audiences. So the comics there, they tend to go hard, you know. And in San Antonio, they tend to like really drive either a point or their punchlines home. Yeah. And almost like in an aggressive way, you know. I would imagine like a very Boston-y type of, maybe New York type of way, where Austin's very much like, hi, I'm friendly and I'm going to tell you a lot of jokes right now, which is great, you know. But it's the comics though here are just so diverse, and so it's just like everybody's different. Everybody has their own brand, and it's very cool to be accepted by some of the comics here. You know, they're very open. You know, where San Antonio is more like, all right, dude, you might not last a couple years, so we might not mess with you so much. You know, because me personally, I can't be vulnerable to everybody, you know? Yeah. And then you quit comedy in a week or so. I'm just like, oh man, I really like that guy, you know? Or that person, whoever. Yeah. Yeah. But here it's like, man, you make friends for life. Like, oh my God, everybody's so friendly, so nice. And they're really trying.
Except for Pat Dean.
Oh, Pat Dean's the worst. Did I tell you he's a harm to women? And a racist? That dude is the worst. He's gonna, in hell, if there is a hell, he's going to have the worst time ever, dude. I promise you. That guy is awful. He tries to cover it up, too.
Everyone secretly loves Pat, so.
I mean, I haven't found one person yet that admits that, except you, but that's fine. Yeah, Pat Dean, he's just the scum of the earth.
Hey, right. Didn't Pat book you to headline the Velvet?
Yeah, I had to give him food. I had to buy him food. Jimmy John's sponsor. It was a disgusting sandwich too. It was just all guacamole. It was just like ugh, or a guacamole. It was all avocado. That's all it was. Just avocado sandwich. God. Nothing else. Ugh. So disgusting.
How was that to get? Well, obviously you were getting booked in clubs in San Antonio. How was it to get booked at?
I've gotten booked at pretty much every club in Texas. Yeah. I've done every club in Texas almost. So the Velv, it's really great when it's like Pat, and he's a comic and he's funny, and to be invited to do something that's like a comics comedy club.
Yeah.
So get invited to do that, I was like, this is great. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'd done it last year in October. Me and myself and Amber Bixby had done like a co-headlining thing. Uh-huh. And that was awesome, but then to have a weekend to myself or whatever you want to call it, it was really cool.
Yeah.
It was really awesome. I kept telling Pat, hey, he's like, you're fine. Why do you keep asking for things? You're okay. Stop being a jerk. I'm like, I don't know. I feel stupid. He's like, you're solid. Don't worry about it. I was like, hey, can I get like a bottle of water? He's like, why are you? Yes, of course. Stop asking me, But, that was awesome. That was really cool. That was really cool.
So obviously your background and the story about Laredo McAllen, you travel and if you get booked in clubs across Texas, you travel. Mm-hmm. Have you traveled outside of Texas to perform?
I have, yeah. I've done some spots in New York, some spots in Florida,
Are you doing the festival scene?
Not really. No. I don't get me wrong. I apply.
Oh.
It's not me doing the festival scene.
Okay.
It's just I'm not funny enough or something. I don't know. I gotta get better, or I don't know. I have no idea. But I stopped applying to festivals maybe like 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. I stopped applying. I'm just like, all right, I'll just ham it out, and if a festival, because the whole point really is, the whole trick is to get on a festival that you didn't have to apply for, Right. If you get invited to one, that's amazing, So I'm trying to work that angle. I'm trying to work that route where I'll just be, build a following or whatever, get on a TV or something where I'll be invited to one. Then I'll be like, okay, this is cool. But the paying to play thing, it just kind of wore me out. I'm just like, all right, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Well, pay to not play.
Paid to not play. And me and myself and my good friend and Tom, he's hilarious. He's a mad scientist. This guy does animation. He does podcasts. He does social media stuff. He's just a mad scientist. Mm-hmm. He does albums too.
Who, I missed the name.
Josh Kabaza. Okay. That's my buddy.
Okay.
Yeah, I was hyping him up.
Okay.
He's also like a harm to women, but he was only because he's married. We started.
I have to talk. I think I have to call the police now that you told me that.
Yeah, I mean, if I see something, I'm going to say something. And these guys are maniacs. So we started this thing where I also do sketches like video sketches. So I'll write them and then we'll act and whatever. Uh-huh. So I started doing this. How long have we doing comedy? I started doing comedy. I started writing sketches and video maybe 7 years ago. My first year in comedy, I wanted to have a different way to express myself too. Yeah. And so he hopped on board, and we've been doing sketch shows at comedy clubs, mostly in San Antonio. And we started doing the Alamo Draft House maybe like 3 years ago in San Antonio, and then we wanted to venture out. So we did here in Austin. We named it Battle of the Sketches, and we got on this website that just shot it out to the world for our little festival. Uh-huh. And now it's like an international thing where people can apply from. We got submissions from Australia, the UK, the Middle East. If that's kosher, I don't know if I can say that.
Yes.
You can't. Well, there's no Middle Eastern people. You can't call them Middle Eastern in their face.
No.
That's just not right.
Okay.
Yeah. See, I'm teaching you something.
I'm willfully ignorant.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Thank
you just refused. but you know, from Iran and Iraq, and you know, we got these emails from this sketch group in Iran. I think that's how they say it. Okay. How they say it, and they said, hey, don't put our name on this stuff because we can get in trouble from our government because they don't allow humor and blah blah blah. So we're like, we're putting you on, you know. We didn't even see it. We're like, well, this has to be gold. People, comedy comes from oppression and all. This is gonna. It was awful, but it was. We put it on. It was just trippy. It was trippy. You know, I don't think they understand what our thing was about. But again, from New York, LA, Canada. The website is based in Canada, so I think that's their like international thing. And so we got all this. We got a really great response off of we're just two idiots from Texas, you know, and we got really great. So we're like, oh man, we got like over 100 and some sketches, dude. What do you want to do? He's like, let's whittle it down. And I'm like, tell you what, I'll make the plan and you'll execute. He's like, great job. And I was like, awesome. So I came up with this like this battle of sketches where people, you know, battle each other to get to the top, you know, and then there's a prize at the end. It's a competition, and Josh made it all. He did the website. He did he did the whole thing with Film Freeways, this other website, then our website, and it's just it came together. We've done it I think 5 times already. Wow. We'll do like we were doing it once every quarter. And then we were like, okay, this is too much. You know, we'll try it maybe twice a year. And then that got too much. And we're like, all right, so let's try it once this year, and then we'll do it once. And that was just right. Yeah. So, because it's about 7 months of work trying to book these places. So the last one we did a little tour of Texas. Okay. And we took the best 20 sketches. We asked people where they would like theirs to be screened. A lot of people picked Houston. A lot of people picked Austin, which is fine. We did Dallas, and we did the Valley, of course, San Antonio, Houston, and then we had the finals in Austin. We did 2 spots in Austin, one at the Fallout, and then one at the Alamo Draft House. It's still very young, especially here in Austin. There's so many great festivals like the Sketch Fest, Austin Sketch Fest, and Moon Tower, and all these great things going on. Yeah. So we're just a couple of nobodies here, which is fine, but you have to build it, I guess, you know, you have to start somewhere. So this next year it's supposed to get a little bigger, you know, it's a $5,000 yada yada, and we got more sponsors this time. So, yeah.
So I saw the battle of sketches on your Facebook page, and I was trying to, because I do my research, and I'm scouring through the website, and I don't even know that your name is included. It
probably wouldn't be. Yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely see my face in there.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say something if I don't fully understand it. Yeah. So that's a big deal.
Yeah. Well, we had been doing sketch shows. Again, since like 2012. I've been where he would go 3 comics or 4 comics doing, you know, so many minutes, like 10 minutes, and then we would show 30, 40 minutes of sketches. And Josh would host in between the sketches, and he would kind of do a Chappelle type thing where you kind of say something and then bring it up. It was very off the top. Nothing was written down. Yeah. And it just went really well. And then from the 5 people that we started, it's been whittled down to just me and him. You know, people move, people stop. So yeah, me and him were the one driving force behind it. And, I mean, I get great responses from the sketches. Yeah. It's like, it's a cool thing. Like, oh, it's not a skill? Holy crap, dude. And then you're like, okay, when can we film? Oh, okay, kids, family, you know, work, and like, all right, cool. So we kind of, if we can come up with 10 sketches a year and then whittle that down to like 7 from the ones that get good responses and the ones we just love, you know, we'll film maybe, you know, 10, 15 sketches a year, and then screen them, and then kind of filter them, and then we'll have like 7 that we can show. Yeah. But that's one thing. That's been pretty. I forgot what we were talking about.
I do too, but now I want to know: are there any?
I just want to keep.
Now I'm wondering: are there any other secret projects that I didn't realize you were involved with?
No, just that in the podcast.
I think we were talking about comparing Austin to San Antonio.
Oh, right. Yeah, well, okay. I'll say another thing here for Austin. Definitely more cultivated shows, where it's like, even if you're not getting paid per se, or maybe like, $5-10 here and there. That doesn't matter because it's going to be a packed crowd. They want to see comedy. I can work on some material, so the stage time is a lot, where San Antonio would have about the same amount of stage time, but not the same amount of support, only because I think that's more of like a blue collar town, and not in the sense of Jeff Foxworthy type. Just like dude, I gotta go to work tomorrow, man. You better make me laugh, or I'm not gonna support this anymore. Where Austin, it's a lot more the kids, I guess, a lot more disposable income. I don't know what to call it.
I don't know, and I wonder when because I've gone to shows in San Antonio. And it is such a different crowd.
Yeah.
I wonder, for somebody who's starting out in comedy, is it better for you to deal with a crowd that's just make me laugh, monkey?
I would. That's very racist. I would.
I'm sorry.
You look right in my eyes, and I hope you don't edit this out either. To hide I'm just joking.
Look at how red I'm getting. I can feel it.
You know what it is? It's awful. That's so terrible. I shouldn't make you feel. I mean, obviously,
I don't care.
You obviously meant an animal. Wow. No, right. No, I would say so, but maybe not. I don't know. It's just the way I was. I would be biased. I'm like, yeah, you gotta go through people who don't like you to sharpen your sword there. But I mean, there's people that started here that are just as, or even funnier. I mean, they're just here. People are so highly motivated. They're like, all right, I got to get this set down because there is an opportunity here. There is, people from Conan are coming by, or I did a CBS showcase or something, So there is a thing of like, all right, I got to get this tight, I get this right, I got to get this in, But in San Antonio, I mean, there's a sense of urgency, but there's just no window of industry there. So people, I mean, it's a great place to make a bunch of mistakes, which I think is necessary. Yeah. To just make a bunch of mistakes. And here, if you're not totally focused and know what the right thing to say and how to act and the false bravado you gotta keep up, in the beginning, you might San Antonio, I want to say this, but maybe they're more humble, I guess. They're more like, I'm a loser, I don't belong here, I'm gonna try to be funny, where it's like, hey, someone might see me to do an acting thing, I'm gonna definitely promote it. It might not be as funny, but they still have the stage and they still have, the attention and commanding, the audience still. But yeah, there's differences, but the industry, I think, is the most important one. Industry is the most important one. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's dig into, this Bobby Lee episode.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Because, I don't know if you listen to Tiger
Bobby
Belly.
who?
Bobby Lee. Don't paint me in a corner, George.
That's okay.
How trippy was that? And if you don't, you probably know the history of him in Austin.
I don't.
You don't?
No. What happened to him in Austin? Can you want to tell me that offline, or can we say it right now?
I think he
is it that damaging? Is it good? I don't want to be negative.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure he has said it on Tiger Belly before.
See, I don't listen to his podcast, so I don't know.
Well, I guess I'll have to let him know that he was a guest on a podcast that doesn't listen to it. No,
I mean, what am I supposed to do? Jesus.
Listen to everybody's.
I mean, I try. I mean, there's some good podcasts. There's some good local ones here, too. I just, I'm going to listen to yours now.
You better.
No, I was listening to yours way back when. Raul was on, my friend Ali Amrine.
Yeah, both interviews I didn't do.
Really? You didn't do those?
No,
I'm so sorry. But, Danny Goodwin. Did you do Danny Goodwin's?
I did Danny's,
okay, yeah. I've heard multiple, I did my research too. Jeez.
No, so the last time that I remember Bobby being in town, he was at Cap City. And if you've never seen Bobby perform, this is for the audience listening to this. If you've never seen him before, odds are, I don't know, what do you think? 90 plus, he's going to get naked.
Every show.
And he's going to stand on a table.
Now, I've only heard this.
Okay, so I've seen it.
See, I saw his show when we podcasted. We did it right after his show. I'd never seen his show before because every time he was in town, I got something going on. You know? And he asked me that on the podcast. He's like, well, how come I don't know you? I'm like, you shouldn't know me. I should be out working on my set, bro. Like, you shouldn't know this guy either. But he's such a loser. Every time you're in town, he has nothing going on. I mean, that might be for a week after and a week before. This guy's a complete loser, you know? But yeah, I mean, I'd never seen his show, and my buddy Josh had told me like, yeah, he gets, and I saw him. I was like, what is this? This is so outlandish. Is this even comedy? This is just riling up drunk people, you know? So I kind of didn't respect it, you know, when I went in. You know, he's hilarious though. He's super funny. Yeah. I mean, I see him on Mad TV and you know other projects, movies he's been in and stuff, and I've always liked him. Mm-hmm. Liked.
Yeah.
Past tense.
Oh!
No, I'm joking. No.
You're dropping all sorts of things that could get either of us in trouble.
Really? You think so?
No.
I just, you know, he was cool. And you saw the podcast, of course. And it's just like, wow, man, you know? All right.
Yeah.
I guess, whatever. He's a very, very weird guy.
Super, super weird. And
super off.
Because I've listened to his podcast, I know his little, he does these tests. Because he's going to say something absolutely insane and not true. But then you never know because it's Bobby Lee. So maybe it is true because he's lived an insane life. Yeah. And I could tell that he was trying to bait the two of you a couple of times. But you knew your stuff. So, you know, you didn't.
Yeah. I'm not going to. First of all, it's a lose-lose situation.
Yeah.
You know, if I go off on this guy, just take away his fame. First of all, take away his fame.
Yeah.
I'm going off on, he's like 4'11", you know, I'm a brute. I look like a ugly thug guy. You know, I choke him out. All of a sudden, I'm arrested, you know, or whatever. And I'm getting, cause he's handicapped or whatever's wrong with him, you know, he's like, they find out he has like autism or something's wrong with him. You know what I mean? I don't want to say it like that, but you know, like, yo, you hit a disabled, like, he's a jerk though. He cussed me out. He told me I was ugly to my face, you know? Oh my God. But then put his fame on there and now I got like 800 million people that are just, they hate my guts, you know? So that's all I could do was be like, oh, okay, really?
Oh, so you're not willing to pay the price for fame, George? Is that what you're saying?
Plus, Josh is like his fanboy, you know. I would have got yelled at by Josh more than any all of that. I would have been. Josh would been like, "Wow, dude, you couldn't just bite your tongue for like 10 minutes? Are you serious?" You know. Because normally, and apparently, that's what the big thing was. Like, oh, George is going to come here. George again. I don't respect anybody, right? So George is not going to. So off camera, there's like 8 people standing by the doorway watching us, and every time Bobby would say something, they would look at me and like, are you going to let it go this time? Are you going to do it? I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm an adult, you know. I had to be phony. Like, no, of course not. I'm totally mature. But yeah, that was a little. And he's a weird guy, though. I didn't know this about him. Like he said, hey, like you want to see pictures of my family? And I was like, yeah, sure. He showed me a picture, and this is gonna hurt. He showed me a picture. It's his father laying down in a casket. I guess his father just died.
Yeah.
And I can't stop help but laugh though. So you go see a picture of my family? I was like, not really. He's like, come on, let me see a picture of my family. I was like, all right, man. He shows me a picture and he's standing straight, like posing for a photo. Next to him is his brother, like crying blood tears, like, like the agony of his father's death. Like, and his mom's like holding his brother, like, crying. And his father's laying there in a casket. And he's all like, look, no, I got more. And then it's his mom, head grinding back and tears. And he's just there looking at the camera, like doing a peace sign or doing one of these. And I was just like, what is wrong with you, dude? He's like, oh, so you think that's funny? I'm like, yeah, dude, of course. What am I, an idiot? What am I, a crazy person? Of course I think that's hilarious. I'm like, is that even real? He's like, yeah, my father just passed away. I'm like, then that's even more funny. Oh my God, dude. What is wrong with you? He's like, yeah, so you all want to go out to eat? Let's go out to eat. We all went out to eat after that, you know. I could hang out with him. I could definitely hang out with this guy. He's like right up my alley. But just, that was the first time me meeting him and stuff. Yeah, I was just like, oh man, this guy's like... Jeez, this guy's out there. I mean, he's like super famous. Hanging out with a super famous guy. He's at the Comedy Store. He has a thing on the Comedy Store, you know. Yeah. It's so I was in this fanboy mode and then immediately got taken out because I'm like, oh no, yeah, okay, all right. All right, I'll just hang out. I'll just hang out then. That's fine. All my friends were just like, wow, you really bitched out. Wow, I can't believe, wow, the George Anthony I know. Whoa, dude, he wouldn't, I've seen you with other people, like, who were his stature or whatever. And it's like, yeah, whatever, dude, but for Bobby Lee, you bit your tongue for Bobby. Wow. So I got a bunch of people that, I'm a phoney now, so
I have to watch it because I listened to it. Now I'm getting a sense.
You'll see a lot of my faces like, oh, dude, I am not enjoying this. Yeah, okay. Jesus.
Well, he is. I've seen him at the store.
Yeah,
and he's magical. But he got himself banned from Austin, so I was bummed because I was traveling the weekend. He was down in San Antonio. And I was like. I can't. I have to. So
you never told me why he got banned from Austin or from Cap City, right? Was Cap City or was he at a theater or something?
I believe it was Cap.
Cap. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Well, getting nude is a little edgy. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Because he likes, he likes to show his family.
He sure does. Yeah, he sure does.
So.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So he did it to the wrong people. It wasn't. It was at the show that he got, or was it?
It was at the show.
Behind the scenes. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So
there you go.
I wish they'd forgive him because it is, and I think what he has said on podcasts is he really loves Cap City and he wishes that he could go back and perform there, but I don't know.
Even worse.
Anyway. Yeah. So that's a
well, rest in peace, Bobby Lee, wherever you're at. We love you. We miss you.
All right. Well, we're going to start winding down. I've taken up more than the time that I said I was going to take with you, but it's been so much fun to get to know you.
Yeah.
And before I ask my closing question, is there anything else that, like I said, are there any other secret shows or things that you're doing that I don't know about that we haven't talked about?
Like coming up, you think?
Well,
can I plug a couple things?
You'll get a chance to do a formal plug section, but are there?
That storytelling show. It was called Onslaught, and it was ran by me and this guy Joey McCormick, and that got us on PBS. They PBS picked us up, not the show, but just to interview us type thing.
Yeah.
And so that was cool, but that's what helped develop the stories that I tell. Mm-hmm. Secret show? Not really.
Okay, all right.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, we did a cartoon.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that's a secret project we did. It's very brutal.
Okay.
It's not for the offended.
Okay, so it's like a skank fest.
A little. Probably worse, honestly. It's we did it in 2016, 2017, and we shopped it to Comedy Central. And we got into the finals or whatever round. Yeah, but they didn't pick it up. We shopped it at Adult Swim. They liked it, but again, they didn't pick it up. It's called Blair and the Bear.
Okay,
and it's my buddy Blair and a bear, and it's basically Blair is trying to explain human culture to a bear, and the bear does not give a shit. The bear always finds a simpler way to solve something, and Blair's like, no, you can't do that though, because in human, and like, yeah, you're talking to a bear though, dude. You're talking to, I wasn't raised in the streets. Where I come from, there's no streets, bro. You got to make your own path, and It was very much during the Kaepernick thing and a bunch of other stuff. It was very well done. Again, Josh was teaching himself animation while he was doing that. So in the beginning, it's kind of crude, and it gets better, almost like The Simpsons, where the first season's geez, and then the second is oh, this is a lot better, But yeah, that actually is something I'm very proud of. Okay. Again, it might get me banned from whatever, probably, but.
And where can people find this?
They can find most of the sketches, actually all the sketches and all the animations that we've done and anything new coming up at FMCW Studios.
That's that's another thing that I just couldn't piece it together.
Yeah. That's,
FMC, is that the W?
Yeah, FMCW, Funny Man Comedy Works Studios.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's they have Instagram, they have that's Josh's baby.
Okay.
And I just help put content on there. I'm like his workhorse. It's just it's really unfair, how funny that thing is because of me, you know. And he's put time into learning animation and how to pocket. But you can hire anybody to do that, you know. It's about the talent, you know.
Yeah.
And you can find everything FMCW Studios.
You could unionize.
Yeah, well, it's just me, but yeah. Well, me and Blair actually wrote that, and Josh did too, and I think Raul did like a couple episodes of Blair and the Bear. All right. But yeah, I guess that's it.
Very good. Let me ask you the final question before we get into plugs. One word to describe your future.
You can edit all the silence out. Never do. To describe my future, hope. I hope everything works out. I don't know. If it doesn't, it has to, though, right? I mean, I don't know. You keep pushing for it. But if it doesn't, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what's going to... Hope's so stupid. All right, let's do chocolate. Because I love chocolate. That's never going away.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know how you knew, or maybe you just figured, but I have a sweet tooth like crazy.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's what I always do. Is for you're not special.
I'm gonna take these home too. Is that okay?
Fine.
I'm gonna pour them in my bag and okay, cool.
That's fine.
All right, thanks.
They have a store out here, so I can get more.
Okay.
That is a wrap on Comedy Wham Presents George Anthony. Tell us where we can find you on social media and tell us about upcoming shows and projects.
You can find me at GA Comic. I think that's on all social platforms, Twitter and Instagram, stuff like that. You can listen to the Willful Ignorance podcast, which I plug 1,000 times during this thing. That's it's on iTunes. That's on everything's SoundCloud, iTunes. We have a at FMCW Studios, YouTube, everything. Shows I got coming up here in Austin. I'm headlining Punch.
Oh, that's awesome.
On the 20...
Oh, 26th? Is that possible?
The 26th, yes. I'm headlining Punch on the 26th. That's a day before my birthday, so that's going to be a very good week. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Matt Bearden's amazing.
He is.
So I'm really enjoying this being in Austin. Everybody's been really responsive to my comedy. You know, like you never know. I'm doing Doug Benson New Year's Eve something.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That
on New
Year's
Eve.
show.
Yeah, I'm doing that with a slew of awesome comics. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. And in between then and now, I mean, I don't know. I have stuff coming up. I'm doing a couple private gigs that I don't care to mention.
And yet you just did.
I know, right? And then some other things, I guess. I don't know. But those are the ones I'm excited about. Everything,
Yeah.
you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we hope you've enjoyed learning about how George got to be the comedic genius that you heard today, just as much as I have. This has been Comedy Wham Presents George Anthony. I'm Valerie, and that's been funny. Thank you, George.
Thank you.